Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever had a brilliant idea but then found yourself uh, struggling? Struggling to get others as excited as you are?
Oh, definitely. Or maybe you've seen the opposite, right?
Yeah,
Someone with well, maybe an average idea, but they just nail it because they can tell a great story.
exactly that. So today we're taking a deep dive into some really fascinating insights from idea to pitch, the art of business communication.
Mm-hmm.
And this material, it's not just about, slide decks. It really centers on the power of communication itself, specifically how to distill complex thoughts into narratives that inspire action.
And what's so interesting here, I think, is the author's background. They admit learning this stuff the hard way through 3 failed startups.
Ouch. Yeah.
Right. And they make this crucial point. Pitching isn't just those formal moments. It's actually every single conversation you have about your business idea.
Every single one.
From the moment it sparks, you're pitching to friends, family, potential teammates, eventually customers, investors, everyone.
That really shifts things, doesn't it?
It does, and it raises this big question. If every conversation is effectively a pitch, how do we actually get good at that? How do we master that art?
Exactly. So, okay, our mission then in this deep dive is kind of like giving you a shortcut.
Right.
A shortcut to understanding this really foundational skill. It's about learning to communicate the core value, what you're creating, and crucially, why it matters.
Yeah, why it matters to them.
To them, yes.
Yeah.
Whether you're talking to like your first potential customer or maybe trying to convince a co-founder to jump on board.
Or eventually, yeah, standing in front of investors. It's all the same core skill, just different contexts.
So if pitching isn't just that formal presentation, what is it? Like, what's the author's core definition? What makes it different from just, explaining stuff?
Well, they're quite precise about it, actually. They call it a 2-minute explanation.
Okay. Short.
Very short. But not just a summary. It has to be a targeted story. And here's the key part. It's designed not just to get people excited, but to compel a specific action.
The action part. That's different.
That's the crucial difference, yeah. Moving beyond just enthusiasm to actually driving action. It's subtle, but it's profound.
So how do the best pitches do that? What's the structure?
Well, typically, the best ones identify a real problem the audience connects with, like immediately.
Yeah.
Then they present a clear solution. And they explain why now is the moment. Why act on this now?
That makes sense. That distinction, it reminds me of Drew Houston pitching Dropbox.
Oh, yeah. Classic example.
I mean, he didn't get bogged down in the technical stuff, did he? What was the problem he focused on?
Exactly. He totally tapped into a universal frustration. He didn't talk sync algorithms.
Right.
He talked about the sheer pain of emailing files back and forth to yourself, or, that gut-wrenching feeling when your laptop dies and you lose everything.
Oh, God, yeah. I remember that feeling.
Everyone in the room had felt that. It wasn't about the tech genius. It was about solving a really relatable, deeply felt problem. So true. I still have flashbacks. Emailing myself, attachments, digital purgatory, like you said. The author really gets that universal pain point idea.
Absolutely.
And this idea of constant pitching, it makes me think about the why. Why is this skill so fundamental for any new venture? What's the source say about that constant selling?
Well, here's something that's often missed, maybe even by experienced people, is just how relentless this pitching really is. The author paints this picture. You're not just selling a product. You're constantly, consistently selling this unseen future.
An unseen future. Okay.
Yeah, like convincing a brilliant engineer to skip a huge salary at a big tech company for your, unproven dream.
Right. Big ass.
Huge ask. Or getting an early customer to use something that's, let's be honest, probably a bit clunky and imperfect.
Based purely on the promise.
Based purely on the promise of what it will become, that continuous, almost invisible persuasion. That's the real foundation.
Yeah.
And that idea of tailoring the message, that seems crucial if you're constantly persuading different people. How does the source suggest we adapt? You can't give the same spiel to an engineer and a customer, right?
No, absolutely not. And this really gets to the heart of understanding your audience. The material is clear. Each group needs a different angle on your pitch.
Like how? Any examples?
Yeah, so the author mentions when they were recruiting engineers for, I think it was their second startup, the pitch was all about the cool technical challenges, building something totally new, the complexity of it.
Okay, nerd appeal.
Total nerd appeal. But then talking to potential customers, the focus shifted completely.
Yeah.
It was all about how this thing would make their daily work Easier, faster, more efficient.
So same core idea.
Same core idea, yeah, but the emphasis, the story itself, changed to hit what mattered most to that specific group, their needs, their hopes.
That adaptability feels key. And the deep dive mentioned some great real-world examples, right? Companies that nailed these early, maybe informal pitches. What about Airbnb? How did Chesky and Gebbia start?
Right, so Brian Chesky and Joe Gebbia, they didn't start with, massive market projections or complex financials.
What?
No, they started super simple, an observation. Price is an important concern for customers booking travel online. Basic, right?
Yeah, obvious almost.
Almost obvious. And then they showed pictures of air mattresses, literally air mattresses on a floor.
Okay.
And talked about how people could make a bit of money offering affordable, authentic places to stay. It was just so relatable, so tangible.
Tangible is a good word for it. And what about Facebook? Their early pitch, as the source puts it, was almost simple to the point of being obvious, too.
Disarmingly simple, yeah. Mark Zuckerberg wasn't talking about connecting billions of people back then.
No world domination yet?
Not yet. His initial story, the pitch, was basically, Harvard students can't easily see who's in their classes online. They don't have online directories, so we built one.
Wow. That's specific.
That's specific.
Yeah.
Solving a very immediate problem for a very defined group. The grand vision, the global stuff, that all came much, much later.
So the lesson from both Airbnb and Facebook seems pretty clear, though.
Yeah, profoundly clear. Start with the problem people get instantly. Something they understand, something they relate to, make it tangible.
Okay, so the pitch journey, it evolves.
Yeah.
The source talks about starting in, lower stakes places. Classrooms, talking to friends.
Exactly. Those are perfect practice grounds, low risk. You can experiment, tweak your message, see what resonates, what falls flat.
Right, refine it.
But as the idea grows, you find yourself pitching constantly everywhere. Coffee shops, conferences, elevators. But there are fundamental things that stay the same, right?
Okay, what are those? What's consistent?
Well, it always comes back to that core problem, solution, why now? And tailoring it. But here's a practical question. How can you start practicing this now, even without a big business idea?
Good question. What does the source suggest?
Well, it actually offers a pretty neat practical step. It suggests using AI tools, like ChatGPT, for instance.
Okay.
Ask it to generate, say, 3 different elevator pitch variations for the same made-up business idea.
Oh, interesting. To see what it comes up with.
Exactly. See how the AI structures them differently. Maybe one focuses heavily on the problem, another on the solution's unique features, another on the market opportunity.
And then you analyze them.
Yeah, you look at them and figure out which elements feel most compelling to you. It helps you start thinking about how to distill your own ideas into that tight, problem-focused story.
That's actually a really clever way to start thinking about structure and focus.
Right. It gets you practicing that distillation process.
So let's bring this all together. What does this mean for you listening right now? We've kind of explored today that pitching isn't some scary, formal thing you do once in a blue moon. It's actually this fundamental skill. It's about communicating your idea, that really tight 2-minute explanation, that targeted story in, well, pretty much every interaction.
Every single one.
Whether it's Drew Houston talking about hating emailing files,
That relatable pain.
or Chesky and Gebbia with their air mattresses talking affordable stays,
Making it tangible.
or even Zuckerberg just solving the Harvard directory problem. The lesson seems really clear. Start with a problem people get, something they understand, they relate to.
And tailor it. Always
Yeah.
tailor that core message for whoever you're talking to.
Yeah, tailor it meticulously.
And stepping back, looking at the bigger picture here, this ability, being able to clearly articulate a problem and your solution, even when your idea is just, taking shape,
Yeah.
that's what actually builds momentum. It's fundamentally about inspiring action.
Action-like.
Like recruiting that amazing co-founder who could be earning way more somewhere else, or convincing that crucial early customer to take a chance on something that isn't perfect yet.
Or getting investors to believe.
Exactly. Getting smart investors to believe in a future that, frankly, doesn't exist yet. And like we mentioned, the source gives you that practical starting point. Use those AI tools.
Right. Generate those pitch variables.
Generate them. See what works. Identify the most compelling parts for your message, whatever that message might be.
Indeed. Okay, so for your final thought after this deep dive, if every conversation really is a pitch, what problem are you trying to solve in your everyday interactions, even when you're not consciously selling a product or a business?
That's a great question.
And how can you apply this idea, distilling a compelling, problem-focused narrative just to share an idea you have, or maybe get someone excited about a passion project, long before you even think about anything like a formal presentation?